Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Breifne and today we are previewing some of the sporting action across the weekend. We'll also be taking a look back at the year that was in the life of the local sports partnership and also the sports awards that took place very recently. Now I'm joined with one guest today, but I'm going for quality rather than quantity this week, and I'm joined by the chairperson of Leitrim Sports Partnership, Mick O'Rourke. Michael, welcome to the programme.
Breifne, thanks very much for inviting me.
You're also double jobbing here today because you're also involved in the rowing club here in Carrick and Shannon, and it is a big weekend for the rowing club, and we'll be talking about the head of the Shannon in just a few moments, as well as the sports awards and anything else that we want to talk about in terms of the local sports partnership. But before we get into all of that, I'm just going to have a quick run through what's actually happening around the rest of the county in terms of actual sport this weekend. So in soccer, in the Super League, in the Sligo Leitrim League, we have Manor Rangers at home to Ahana Celtic at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, while at the same time in the showgrounds in Carrick and Shannon, Carrick Town play host to Ballymote Celtic in a must-win game for them if they want their promotion bid to continue. They're going really well at the moment. In the Under-18 Connacht Cup, also in soccer, Manor Rangers face the journey to Merview after a 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday afternoon over in Galway. Now, in terms of golf, there is a ladies' 9 and dine event tomorrow, Saturday, December the 7th. And if you're not already involved in that, give a shout to Siobhan Talbot if you're in the club, and she will organise that for you. And I think they're happy enough for people to come along and just take part in the dine in that. But I think the whole idea is to get out and have a little bit of a half a round, basically, 9 holes, and get out and have a bit of a social event ahead of Christmas. And I suppose really all that we talk about after that, there's no Gaelic games this weekend. In terms of rowing, though, that is kind of the headline event of the weekend in the county, and it's the head of the Shannon. Now, we've had you on about the Regatta earlier in the show. We had a couple of your club mates as well in that, Michael. Tell us a bit about the head of the Shannon and what exactly it is.
Okay, Breifne. So yeah, the head of the Shannon is it's 2 time trial events, and it kicks off all down at Carrick and Shannon Rowing Club there on Saturday morning. We'll have crews coming from all around the country. We're delighted. We've strong representation from Dublin, from the Galway clubs, from some of the northern clubs as well, from around Belfast and Derry and Portadown, and then some other clubs further down the country. So there was to be 2 big events this weekend. One down the head of the river down in Muckross, which was going to be down at the National Rowing Centre. But unfortunately, I suppose the weather that's coming in over the weekend is going to hit down there first. So they've called off their event. So we're the only big event happening this weekend, and we're really, really delighted that we've got such a huge entry, and we're looking forward to some great racing. The head, for anyone who doesn't know what is the head of the river, so it's a time trial event, and it will be from about 3.5 kilometres downriver of Carrick down towards Jamestown. So crews will slip down at the rowing club, and they'll warm up and make their way down the river. And then at an area called the White Woman, we have a holding area, and we'll have a start line set up, and we will let crews off. We'll say we have a start list ready, so obviously faster crews, we let them off first so that there's going to be no traffic in their way, and then gradually we'll say medium boats and smaller size boats go towards the finish, and they might take a little bit longer. And so there's 2 races. One is at 11 o'clock and the second race then is at 2 o'clock. And in between then we're blessed, we've got some great food and some great parents and families all, putting the shoulder to the wheel to provide food and everything on the day. So we're looking forward to it now.
Now, I know people listening to this who are familiar with rowing that seems quite normal, but did you say they have to get into the water in Carrick and row the 3.5 kilometres out to row the 3.5 kilometres back quickly?
That's right.
That sounds horrific.
Yeah, so 3.5k. Look, it wouldn't be big mileage in terms of doing a warm up. Like our youngsters at the weekend, let's say our high performance group, they're training every Saturday, Sunday morning, 7:30. They could do up to 20 kilometres on a Saturday or a Sunday. So look, at 3.5 will only get them warmed up. But yeah, it's a nice distance. Look at the head of the river in the past. We had it up to 5k at one point. But we felt, we had a couple at the time of the year as well. It is cold on the water. You don't want to be hanging around. So once you get warmed up, you want to get turning up at the top. And we'll say on the day, we'll have a couple of people up at the start there. The club chairperson, Keevin Corrigan, and Mark Butler will be the official starter on the day. Those people up there are well experienced, and myself and some others will be there helping crews to get through the start as quickly as they can, and then chase back to Carrick, pegging it back as quick as you can.
Now, you talked about the crews coming from all over the country, but we have some local talent there as well from inside the club. Who can we be looking out for over the weekend?
Okay, so in some of the small boats, we have the club vice captain. We have Shauna Murtha, is going well in the Junior 18 single scull, and it'll be her last event at the Junior 18 scull, as in she'll be going into the senior ranks then for next year. We have Gwen O'Rourke again in a single. We have Antonio Chilton, Thorin O'Donnell, Martin Antonoff, Aoife Lowe and Sarah Lee, and they're at various age groups in the single sculls. And again, you can notice a lot of girls there. We've great representation with our junior ladies across the age groups. Some of those girls and some of the fellas then they'll be maybe moving to different combinations in double sculls, and we'd have Kieran Ryan and Cian O'Leary, which is a new double that has come in, I suppose, in the last couple of months, and we're really looking forward to see how they're going to go. And also Leon O'Brien and Oisin Reynolds have been moving really, really well recently, and they're going to put it up to, I'd say, lots of the crews. And I suppose the advantage then of maybe ahead of the river is local knowledge of the river. When you get to straight line racing in regattas during the summer, obviously the fastest boat is going to win it. But ahead of the river is slightly different in that if you have a little bit of knowledge of the river, taking a tight turn, cutting the bends, you can pick up some time. So we would be hoping like that local knowledge would get them across the line and leave them in good positions. After that then I suppose we're into maybe some of the junior ladies. We have Nora Stevens and Roisin Reynolds who've been eating up the river now the last couple of weeks. They've been really going really, really well, and we're expecting that they should put in a good show. Then we'll have some quad sculls as well, again junior 16s, junior 15s and some junior 14s, boys and girls. On top of that then we're really happy to see we've two kind of beginner groups kicking off in the last, maybe since September, really taking it seriously. We've a junior 16 men's group and a junior 15 girls group, and they're both going out in eights. And to get an eight moving in a small club like Carrick and Shannon and to sustain it isn't just a simple task. To get an eight going, you need 10 or 12 bodies turning up regularly and rotating them and giving them all an opportunity to sit in different positions to try and get a good crew going. It's like any team, you need, it's not just the team on the day, you need a good panel. We're lucky with a great panel of kids there at the minute who are really working hard and buying into the philosophy of what we're doing in the club.
That's a big number to get in one particular year group, essentially, within a club. I presume it straddles a year group or two, possibly. It
does, yeah. And I look at it again, it's like every sport, some go from maybe the middle of January or from the start of January. Other crews, there might be different start dates in the year. But look, we don't just draw out of Carrick. I think that's the beauty of Carrick Rowing Club. We draw from Boyle, we draw people from Ballinamore, kids from Mohill. So we have a huge catchment, and like we are the only, the nearest clubs to us after Carrick is Sligo to the north and Athlone to the south. So we have a huge catchment there, and kids are really, I suppose, in the last couple of years, we've talked about it before at the time of the regatta, but I suppose that's still that O'Donovan factor. People are seeing that rowing is not just a hobby, that it's a really active, vibrant sport. And look at numbers down in the club at the moment are gone through the roof. We've up on 100 kids down there in different age groups and at different experience levels and different boats. And look at they're all going very well at the moment, which is great.
Excellent. But as well as all the rowing activity and the physical activity that's taking place tomorrow, Saturday, and as you said, people are more than welcome to come out and have a look at that. What I loved about the regatta was back at the clubhouse there was options for dinner, there was people they were serving everything across the thing, and there's a whole host of different options available. There's a bit of a party atmosphere down there as well, at least there was for the regatta. Will it be the similar situation over the next 24 hours? It
will. Look at people come to Carrick to go to a well-run event, and I think we always provide that with both the regatta and the head of the river. But also it's at a nice time of the year. Both the regatta is a great time. It's at the end of the regatta season. But the head of the river now, it's the last thing before the turn of the year. People are saying, we're going to go out and have a nice, good old row before we come into January. And, it's great. You get an opportunity to meet up with other clubs. You get up to meet, crews that you race during the summer, see how they're going, see have they changes in personnel, see if they're going to row in the same boat. So there's lots of talk about rowing, and there'll be lots of discussions between coaches, between competitors, between family members, and it's a great get together for, I suppose, the greater rowing community. And look, we have a lovely facility there, and look, Carrick is an ideal location, sitting just there on the banks of the river with a beautiful boardwalk there and the linear park. And our own facilities down around there. It's just a nice place to be, and even if the weather is a little bit inclement, it's still a good day out.
But people can support the club, I suppose, by engaging in what's on offer there in terms of food and drinks.
Absolutely, and thanks for mentioning that, Breifne. Yeah, look, at the food provided on the day has been put up largely by our parents, and they're working hard. There's bread been baked and dishes been cooked up, from curries to stews and all sorts of lovely stuff going to be handed out on the day. And look, we put a post up online. We're considering changing the name to the Head of the River and Taste of the Shannon next year, because such is the level of the commitment from our parents. And it's great in that, I suppose, year on year, some parents drop out, kids move on to college and whatnot, new parents come in, but there's a great philosophy there with our parents group down the years to really get stuck in and put the best foot forward for Leitrim and for Carrick Rowing Club. So the money that we create, that's generated on the day, it's going to go directly back into the club. And we've got some exciting things coming up. We're looking at purchasing some more boats. We're lucky we got some grant aid there from the Sports Capital programme last year. We're keen to spend that. I suppose we have to come up with a bit of match funding. So fundraisers like Saturday and the few quid that we'll get from entries as well, all of that will go straight back into the club to get the new boats and to get new kit and new facilities for essentially for the kids to keep going on further and further.
I think it's going to be a great weekend around Carrick and Shannon. So tomorrow, if people are floating around, whether it's turning on the lights, whether it's the winter market in the dock, and I think the Market Yard have a Christmas festival as well. So there's a great opportunity there, all within a really short walking distance, to get in and experience the best of what Carrick has to offer, starting from what time on Saturday morning?
Yeah, so look, there'll be action down at the club from early morning. Clubs will be arriving. Some have even arrived already down there to get a good spot for slipping and for setting up their boats. Action really from around 10 o'clock. You'll see crews hitting the water. They'll be paddling on their way up, doing a bit of a warm up. But then from, let's say, the start for the first head is 11 o'clock. And from 10 past 11, quarter past 11 on, you're going to see clubs and crews pegging it down the river. And it will be well worth seeing. There'll be some of the very best clubs coming from all over the country. Our other neighbour, which I didn't mention, I suppose to the northeast of us, Enniskillen, they're like multiple champions at all Irish level, last summer. They're coming down in strength. So you're going to see really, really, the very, very best of stuff. You're going to see like some current internationals. I know we have some coming, and future internationals will be coming as well. Just maybe one last thing I might just say, we've a really good competition going on this weekend, and if I'm okay to give a plug,
100%.
we've got a photography competition. We'd love to get people down, with your smartphone or with your own your DSLR or whatever. If you're more serious about your camera work, come down, take some photos of the day, get them up on your social media, tag Carrick Rowing Club, be it our Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And we've got some really good prizes from the Bush Hotel, from the Oarsman, and from the Landmark Hotel. They've been very generous, as always, as all the other businesses are. But we just got some nice prizes, some lunch vouchers and stuff like that. And so if you win, you might be up for one of those.
Absolutely, and obviously it's the good promotion for the event as well as it's happening. So, Michael, thanks very much for coming in. I want to introduce my next guest. He's the head of the sports partnership. I think you know him.
I think I do know him. Yeah.
So we are doing something a bit different here. But Michael, you wear two hats. So we've chatted about the rowing tomorrow, but let's cast our eyes back, because you also are the new chairman of the Leitrim Sports Partnership. It's the first time we've had a chat with you since you came into that position. And congratulations, first of all. What's it been like for the first 6 months?
Thanks very much, Breifne. Yeah. So a couple of months in there, I took over from the very experienced Enda Stenson. And look at the board of the Sports Partnership. We're there, to affirm all the good practice that really happens from the staff in the Sports Partnership. From the coordinator there with Declan Boyle and all the team that are there. They work so hard throughout the year with massive initiatives all around the county, and they're not just the obvious club sporting initiatives. It's they move into active age, into disability groups, into special needs groups, stuff that isn't just obvious to bigger sporting organisations. But there's great work done there, and we as a board, we're there to support them in any way, shape that we can.
You might tell us a little bit about the Sports Partnership behind the scenes. So people are familiar, I'd imagine, with some of the programmes that you run out, but tell us a bit about who's on the committee and where that group is formed from.
Okay, so every couple of years there will be a call out for new members to join the sports partnership. There will be members from the VEC, there will be members from the HSE, there will be members from An Garda Síochána. Myself, originally a nominee, let's say, just from I suppose, the fact that we've experience of on the water. You'd have people drawn from athletics, from triathlon, from your field sports, from your soccer, your hurling, your Gaelic football. I suppose it's trying to get a broad and a balanced group there, so that when decisions are being made, that it's not just sort of niche decisions, that you try and get all the sports around the county. Sorry, I'm also mentioning the likes of hill walking, cycling, to bring in as broad and a balanced view on the direction of sport in Leitrim that you possibly can.
Because I think when people think of sport in Leitrim, Gaelic games obviously come to the fore every single time, but the reality is there are people in small pockets around the county taking part in so many sports. Dozens and dozens of sports represented, and I think that was borne out at the recent sports awards that took place in Lochrin. I think it's 2 weeks ago now. Talk to us about that event and what opportunity that gives for people to become more aware of what's happening in their own communities. Yeah,
so the beauty of the sports award, and this is the 10th year of the sports awards, and it's just such a good night out, because all sports get an opportunity to be represented. The call out goes out in the local media, social media in advance, back in October and November, and people know the great work that's going on, and anyone in the public can get to nominate their local club, their local representative who helps out behind the scenes. And we introduced some new awards there, like our primary teacher, secondary teacher, coach of the year, along with the other well-established things like be it a club of the year or a team of the year, and athlete of the year, senior and junior. So that's I suppose it's a great opportunity every year for somebody to get nominated and to recognise the great work that they're doing in their communities. I suppose the danger of starting naming sports and naming awards is that you're going to miss something out. But again, things like your boxing and your fishing, and they're other, very, very strong sports for County Leitrim that you may forget when you think only of your field sports.
Yeah, just don't have that necessarily that profile that other sports would have in the county. Any particular highlights on the night for you this time around?
On the night, it was fantastic to see. For me, the volunteer of the year is something that's always very, very strong with me, in that I am a volunteer myself, and I volunteer down at Carrick Rowing Club, as spoken about previously. But to see people like Mark Kelly from Lockheed Triathlon Club, to say that he's just a member of the Tri Club is to sell him short. Mark Kelly, for example, is available to every event that happens locally, taking photos and putting them up on social media and really capturing a moment and capturing the really heart of these great events that go on. The likes of Siobhan Green again was nominated for brilliant work on there in Drumsna Boxing Club, which has seen a real resurgence in the last couple of years. Aidan and Eileen Donoghue again for their work with Clune GAA. And then the winner overall for the Volunteer of the Year was James Junior Haslett for his great work going on there with Drumkeerdon. The man is there a lifetime in Drumkeerdon. He's the symbol of everything good that goes on in Drumkeerdon GAA. And look, at all of those were winners on the night to my mind. But look, at somebody obviously got the award, and James got it on the night. But the like of that, or also to acknowledge your club of the year. It mightn't look at it as it happened this year. It was Glencar Manor who are the county champions there, but it mightn't always be your county champions that come out. It could be some new initiative that's going on in a small rural club that gets acknowledged. And isn't it great? It's a great night. I think the beauty of it is that we all go to maybe our own local club. We always have a great night with Carrick Rowing Club, but we miss maybe some of what's going on in other clubs. But to be there on the night with the boxing and the likes of the athletics, Carrick Athletic Club and Mohill Athletic Club and lots of athletic clubs around the place. And also, minority sports, to see them all there on the night and everyone having a good night. And then the real treat, I suppose, on the night is that we've always tried to have a special guest on the night. And this year we really had a fantastic special guest in that Jason Black, a summiter of K2 and Everest and a worldwide adventurer, to hear him speak and also to hear, I suppose, his personal story of being bullied in school and how the great outdoors was really a saving point for him in his life, and how he used that to progress, and to progress in all aspects of his life. By these skills that he got through through scouting and Scouting Ireland. I think it was a great experience. Anyone that was there on the night to hear him, it's very empowering. And look, again, it's something nice that's added to the night as well. But look, a great night had by all. But again, the organisation behind that by all the personnel. There, by Patricia and Michelle and Declan, as we mentioned, and the rest of the team there, the sports partnership. Again, the danger of mentioning a few people, you'll forget somebody else, and I'm going red in the face when I'm thinking about who I'm forgetting. But great night out had, and again, of course, look at the other star on the night. Of course, is Lochrin. The hotel over there is just fantastic, and everyone had a great night.
In terms of sport in the county, I suppose we've been blessed with some really, really excellent high performance results over the last few months and the year. Now, without putting you on the spot, obviously, even in recent days and weeks, obviously the news that Aina Madden has transferred codes to play rugby for Ireland, the rugby sevens, that he was named in an Ireland squad during the week, and Dean Clancy winning a national championship twice in the last 2 months, on top of all the success in terms of hurling and Gaelic football earlier in the year. And again, no more than yourself, forgetting people, leaving people out, the likes of Shane Mallon winning the schools, interprovincials with Leinster schools in rugby, and many, many more. Derval Byrne reaching the FAI Cup final and winning the National League. So many stories. We could be here all day talking about them. And again, apologies to anyone I've forgotten, but it's been phenomenal to see that. And coming out of a venue like Leitrim, or county like Leitrim, where, let's be honest, we don't have the facilities that are in some of our urban centres, and yet people still put that effort in to make to progress themselves and to progress their sporting prowess. What can the Sports Council or the Sports Partnership do as their representatives here in the county to make it easier for those people to reach those levels on a consistent basis, not just on a flash once off?
Yeah, I was wondering where this question was going, but yeah, a very good question. I think the key there with the sports partnership is advice. They're there. There's a world of advice of to be able to back up clubs, with the decisions that they make. Be it they might be trying to plan something into the future. They may be trying to get in new volunteers. They may be trying to establish better facilities. There's a great hub of advice there available from Declan and the team in the sports partnership. And the other great thing that the sports partnership do, they're able to take a lot of the admin work out of what all the clubs do around the county, in that running off child protection courses and making sure that safeguarding and all that legislation piece is in place for all the clubs around the country is a huge task. And if it's left down to people on their own, isolated in individual clubs, it can be quite intimidating. So the great factor for me, and it's one that I believe strongly, where the sports partnership can step in there and offer to run off those courses and to say, look, all you need to do is turn up on the night and we'll get you in there and we'll have the expertise there to back you up. That takes a huge lift off clubs locally, and then it enables them to do what they're good at doing, to get out and to do the sport and to get out and help the youngsters push on to the next level, and not be I suppose encumbering the volunteers with all that extra work and the admin load that they could do without.
Excellent. Well, listen, Michael, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat with us, telling us all about the sports partnership. There's so much more, but we don't really have the time to be going through. I know you're busy with the preparations for tomorrow, which we'll finish on. It is, of course, the head of the Shannon. It takes place from a public point of view from around 11 o'clock, 10 past 11. The crews will start arriving back in towards the boardwalk and towards the bridge in Carrick and Shannon. People can keep an eye on it. Come spend the day, cheer on a few of the local crews. It's going to be a great opportunity to kind of taste a bit of local homemade cooking as well, in terms of the little market that you'll be running yourselves at the rowing club. People will be familiar where it is, but a good day around Carrick and Shannon. Make sure the rowing club is on your itinerary for the day. Thanks so much for coming in. Just remind people, what time tomorrow? 11 o'clock?
Yeah, from just after 11 o'clock tomorrow, around 10 past, quarter past 11, get down to the boardwalk down there, bring your camera, start taking a few photos, watch the crews coming through. There's going to be some great talent on show in a variety of boats. And then later in the afternoon, about 2:15 again, there'll be more crews coming down. So everybody is welcome, and we'd love to see you and give a bit of a shout for Carrick if you get a chance.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming in. This was the sports preview show on Leitrim Daily. I'll be back tomorrow with a current affair where we'll be talking about the Leitrim Public Participation Network. Talk to you then.